Going on for 17 after 11 on this Monday morning. Now, alcohol is blamed for contributing to the rising numbers of COVID-19 cases. The cumulative number of infections has reached the 1 million mark, and that's at least. And the government is expected to announce some harsher restrictions. Let's chat now to Lucky Ntimane from the National Liquor Traders Council. And as we headline, liquor traders pleading with government not to reintroduce an alcohol ban. Lucky, a very good morning to you. Is that what you're hearing? Is that the word from the NCCC meetings happening at the moment, that's on the cards?
Good morning, Rebecca, and good morning to NCA viewers. Thank you for the opportunity. It's always a pleasure being on your show. Yeah, we've been hearing the news that seeks to, paint a situation that is bleak for the industry, that we might be closed. But based on the social compact that we have with government and in various engagements that we continue to have with government at the senior level, we would like to believe that those rumors will not come to bear and that the industry will be allowed to operate as it were. Though we do expect that there will be some restrictions placed, but we feel that, the industry, I think the commitment that the industry has shown in supporting government's efforts in fighting the pandemic is going to put us in good state and help us to be able to maintain trading going forward.
What would work for you in this situation? What would be ideal? Because, obviously, the word out there is yes, alcohol is contributing to this, not only in the spread of the virus because it makes people just behave badly most times, but also that we have alcohol-related accidents that's putting pressure on the healthcare system as well. So what would work for you? What would you agree to if there were to be stricter measures put in place?
So, Rebecca, just before I respond, I just want to indicate something, that we as an industry are fully aware that there are those instances of alcohol abuse that lends themselves into situations where there are stabbings, trauma cases that clog the health system. We are aware of that. Hence, we've got programs on the ground that seek to deal with that, once and for all. In terms of, so our expectations are that we definitely are going to be allowed to operate, and we have reason to believe that government will ring true to the commitment to work with an industry in terms of giving us that opportunity to be able to fully trade. What will work for us, Rebecca, is an ability to trade in a way that fully supports government's efforts to fighting the pandemic, which is allowing us to operate off-premise, but operate over a 7-day period. I will tell you why we want to operate over a 7-day period. If you allow us to operate, for example, over a 4-day period, what you're then creating, we are creating an illicit and illegal trading of alcohol that will take hold over a 3-day period. That remains a gap. And what will then happen is that those people are not bound by any laws or any regulations. So anything that happens in that space, we as an industry, unfortunately, have to take a blame on a channel or in an environment that is unregulated. So we're saying to government, allow us to open over a 7-day period. And this also helps in terms of, alleviating the congestion that normally happens when liquor is available over a shorter period. So a 7-day period, it makes sense, and also it also supports government's efforts in fighting the pandemic, because you're not going to have long queues, but you're going to have a safer environment under which people consume liquor, can buy liquor and consume at the comfort of their own homes. Well,
Lucky, how would you make sure then that those who are affiliated with you would actually play by the rules? I mean, just last week, you and I spoke about those who are breaking the law, those liquor traders who are breaking the law, those who've had licenses revoked or suspended, those who've been fined as well. So you're obviously going to have to keep a tighter control. How will you make sure that they actually comply and don't take the opportunity to further break rules?
So the alcohol...
Okay, well, we seem to have a problem there with Lucky's line, but it would have been nice to hear. All right. We seem to have lost him. Unfortunately, we do have to move on, but we get the gist of what it is they want while those talks continue. Let's wait and see what happens. We're still talking about the sale of alcohol in connection to the rising COVID-19 infections. Barry Bateman is out in Pretoria to check on whether liquor stores are still following the rules. Barry, good morning. And yes, we were just talking to Lucky Ntimane from the National Liquor Traders Council just about, what they want and how they actually plan to make sure that members are complying. What are you seeing at the moment?
Well, we're outside the Liquor City here in Groenkloof in Pretoria, where I've been speaking to some of the people that have been buying their liquor here today, and I've got the manager or the owner. We'll speak to him in a short bit, but just on my observations that all the rules are being complied with. You can't enter the store without having your mask on. You have to sanitize your hands as you enter, and there are strict protocols inside that are being adhered to, and people are going about their business in a safe environment. But the big concern is this possibility that the president could impose stricter controls on the sale of liquor, and what impact that could have on businesses like this. So, as I said, with me is the owner, Charles van Roy, of this Liquor City. Charles, we had a hard lockdown earlier this year, and it had a significant impact on businesses. Firstly, give me an idea of how hard it hit you, and would you be able to withstand another lockdown like that?
Good morning, Barry, and good morning to your viewers as well. It's been a tough year, Barry, that much I can tell you. You know, the first lockdown, I think that lasted probably about 2 months, which was a major setback in terms of revenue generated. We lost millions in terms of revenue. And, then to try and recover from it, we're talking bank loans in order to cover our overheads, which need to be repaid at some stage. So that's where we're at. To answer your question, another hard lockdown for us in our industry to close down completely, I don't know how we'll survive it. I honestly don't know.
But the concern from government, and perhaps you've seen it yourself, is that people aren't adhering to the measures that are already in place. What do you believe would be an appropriate response or mechanism put in place to try and get people to adhere to the measures that might not include banning liquor?
Indeed, Barry, you see, this is where we have to differentiate between us being off-consumption premises versus the on-consumption. We're talking taverns, bars, restaurants, etc. Now, we are currently trading Mondays to Thursdays 10 to 6, so they shortened our hours, as opposed to the bars and restaurants being open 7 days a week, selling liquor from 10 till 10. And I think this is creating, to a large extent, the super spreader events. And that should be controlled. I think they should rather control to a large extent in order to avoid the super spreaders, because our typical customer will purchase liquor from our stores and they will go home and enjoy a quiet evening with maybe your neighbors or friends. Only a handful of people involved there. That's my take on it.
If there was to be an additional condition on the sale of liquor from your shop, what do you think would be reasonable?
Again, Barry, I think, the shortening the hours, that is, they were talking, there was mention of, limiting stock to customers. That is an option to look at. But I sincerely think that, shortening the hours, that's making it worse, because you're going to see it's early in the morning right now. By 4 o'clock this afternoon, we'll have queues running all the way down here, people trying to pile in here, and that creates a problem for us in terms of social distancing, etc. Then we control the queue, because we are 100% compliant in terms of, the COVID regulations. But that creates a problem. If you spread it out, I think it'll ease it. But the main concern is, I think, it's festive season. Let's not lose sight of that. So people want to get together and they want to party. And if it carries on until 10 o'clock tonight, and then people also get into their vehicles behind the steering wheels, I think that creates major problems.
All right, there we go. Thank you very much, Charles. Well, Uveka, I've lost the line to the officer. I can't hear you, but just to sum that up, there is concern from the industry. A look at a store owner like this here is concerned. Another hard lockdown and further restrictions could be the end of business, and this would not apply just to here, but throughout the sector.
We'll leave it there for now, Barry Bateman. Thanks very much. We get the idea of what liquor traders would like to see happen out there. It is, but let's see what happens. It's all a matter of life and death at the moment. That's what it is. More on the day's top.